So I tell myself, you're a pretty, 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 pretty girl. You're a pretty, 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 pretty girl. You're a pretty, 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 pretty.
Hey guys, it's Amanda. Today I'm going to be showing you a beginner's guide to contouring. So if you want to see how to contour for beginners, please keep watching. Okay, so let's get started with what exactly contour is. A lot of YouTubers now just delve right into it because they know what it is, they know how to do it, so therefore let's just get to it. Well, a lot of us don't know what contouring is, and contouring can be one of the most difficult makeup techniques to apply on your face. So what is contouring? Contouring is basically where if you were in different areas of lighting, where those shadows would be hitting. So a lot of people want to chisel out those cheekbones. We do have a shadow casting on them, but the whole point of contouring is to make that a little bit more defined to give us that high set of cheekbone idea. Typically, if you're a beginner for contouring, we all have different skin tones, we all have different complexions, we all have different types of skin, so forth. But the main thing that you want to look for in contouring is finding a shade that best matches you in terms of, it's not going to match your exact skin because it is going to be at least 2 shades darker typically than what your skin tone is. But if you're very fair skinned, you're not going to have the same contour shade as someone who has a warmer complexion to them. What you want to stay away from, yes, typically you can contour with bronzers. However, rule of thumb, you don't want to contour if it's super red undertone or super orangey undertone. We don't want to look like an Oompa Loompa because that's not fun. Remember, we're just trying to emphasize that shadow, where that shadow would hit on the face. We're trying to sculpt out those cheekbones, or we're trying to give a pouty lip by putting a shadow underneath the lip, giving that emphasis like, oh, I do have a bigger lower lip. Or if you have a 5 head, you have a really big forehead and you want to diminish the size, you will put a contour shade up here to create a shadow on it to make it look smaller. That's all that contouring is. Okay, you don't have to do it by any means, but if you are going all glammed out and you want to give that chiseled cheekbone appearance, then I would recommend doing it. Now, what color do you pick? Again, like I said, it varies with your skin tone, your complexion, but you're wanting to go for something that has more of an ash tone or a brown with very, very, very little redness in it. So that's why bronzers aren't typically the best thing for you. What I would recommend as a beginner contour artist would be going in with a palette like this. This is a Pro Fusion contour palette, and this has 3 contouring shades. So 3 contouring shades and then 1 light shade. So to just help sculpt out that contour all the more, or to set under your eyes. Anywhere you want light, you would use this. Anywhere you want it to look a little bit more dark in the cast, in the shadow, this is what you would go for. Now, if you've never contoured before, you may not know what color works for you. You don't want to look like you just came out of a mud bath, so you don't want to have such a muddy color. This right now for me is too dark. When I become a little bit more tan, so when I'm going on vacation and I start to get that olive tone complexion that is in my skin, I would use more of that tone. But right now I'm pale, so I go between this tone and this one right here. I mix the 2 of them. So just why I say to get a contour palette is so you can experiment. If a shade looks too orange on your face, you know that's not for you. If it looks too muddy and dark and just off, then you know it's not going to be for you. It's kind of hard for me to tell you what specifically you should pick because we're all different. We're all different. So the best thing for you is pick this up. Not this one specifically, but e.l.f. has a great one. You could go with a Pro Fusion contour palette. Anything that has more than 2 shades would be optimal for you. Okay? So, how to contour. First thing that you want to do is if you have put all your foundation on your face and it's still wet, and you're going to be contouring with a powder, just like I showed you in this contour palette, you want to set your face. Setting it to help mattify it, to make it not splotchy when you put on that powder, because that is not something that looks cute. We want something that's a nice shadow line, not a harsh line, but obviously a nice shadow. We don't want something splotchy on the face, which that could happen if you don't set your foundation, if it's wet. Now, if you're going in with a cream contour, by all means, you don't need to set your face because it's wet, you're fine. But since we are using a powder contour, we are going to want to set the face. So I already set my face. I just used the Ulta light to medium finishing powder. This is about $10, so if you... Okay, so moving on to contouring. Some tips and tricks for you. There's two ways that I like to contour and I find are the easiest. Typically, if you line up from the top of your ear down on a diagonal, that's where we will be drawing the contour in. Because if you see in the shadow, you do have that typical line with that shadow casting on you, makes that contour. So we're just going to take that makeup and contour that out. So you could do that, that's one option. Or you can make that obnoxious fishy face, like so, and you would contour that way by chiseling out those cheekbones. That would be a second option for you if you have abnormally large ears, perhaps, and they're maybe uneven, so you want to do that fishy face. Whichever way works for you, in all honesty, that's the thing that's going to keep you to have a nice contour. You want to pick a technique that's going to work for you. I like to line it up with my face, with my ear, at the tip of my ear, and bring it down. We're not going to bring that line all the way down to the lip. We're going to stop about halfway, just where your cheekbone like swoops up. So if you were looking at a skull, I'll put a picture of the skull, but you're going to stop like right halfway there. So about a quarter from your lips and 3/4 starting at the base of the ear and down. Okay, what you can do, if it helps, you could put like a card and then put the powder on and then sculpt it out with the brush. What I like to do is I'll go in with my shade, I'll put some on my finger, and I will just make a diagonal line down the face, like that. You want to start off with little product because remember, you could always add more to it. It's harder to take off if you add too much. So since I have that, I like to use this Dough Color, I believe it's called. I got it on Amazon. I can link it down below for you guys. It's just a very loosely packed brush that I feel, and it's flat, so you can see perfect for contouring out the face. It's compared to that NARS brush, it's $80. So this is $8.99, the NARS one is $80. Pick your poison. Whichever one you want to spend on, go for it. I like this one because it helps to not break up the contour, but loosen it up and blend it out nicely on your face. So you're going to want to have a light hand as you do this. I like to bring it up into the ear. I don't want to bring it down because if you bring it down, it's going to go down into your lip area and we don't want it there. So just lightly, we're going to blend back and forth, little stripes, swipes, not stripes, back and forth, bring it up into the ear. We're trying to just define those cheekbones somewhat. So very light contour. Okay? Now if you want to add more, you could add more later. We're just going to switch to the other side and carve that side out, and then I'll determine if I want a little bit more later. directly into the palette with the brush. Just tap off the excess and go over it a second time, because like I said before, you want to start off minimally and then add to it. You don't want to put too much product on the face because it's going to be hard to take off. Okay, and if you want to diminish the appearance of your forehead, I don't feel like I have a big forehead, but we'll just put a little bit up into the hairline is typically what you're doing, just where a shadow would cast if you were out in broad daylight. And again, if you want to contour your nose, make it smaller, what you should do, best thing to do, is line it up with where your eyebrow kind of begins. So you'd make a line down the nose, put it on the tip of the nose, and then drag it back up on the other side where that eyebrow begins, and then putting a light shade in the middle. Speaking of that, to carve out your contour even more, we'll go into, with that light shade, tap off some of the product and just go underneath the area. Some people will bake the face. I don't feel a need to do it, so I do not do that. This is just to carve out your contour a little bit more and make it look a little bit more sharp, a little bit more defined. And then I'll take the two and blend them together so there's no harsh demarcation line. And there is your contour. With your contour, then you would add in your bronzers, your blushes, your highlight. So let's just do that now really fast. This will show you the final product. So taking your bronzer, you're going to go over kind of where that contour is, just on top of the cheekbones and dragging it up. Bronzer is different than contour. I keep dropping things left and right. Contouring is different in the sense that it's going to diminish or really sculpt out areas of the face that you're wanting to have that cast of in the shadow. However, a bronzer is going to sculpt your face outward. So it's going to make you have more of a sun-kissed glow to it. It's not going to make any kind of shadow on it. It should naturally progress into where you're highlighting those areas of the face, if that makes sense. So do your blush on those apples of the cheeks. The best way to do that is by smiling. And then you see those apples, see, rosy cheeks. And just, I like to tap it on and then drag it up. And then finally, shimmer time, highlight time. Okay, my favorite part. If you've been watching me, you know. So I'm just gonna take this color right here, the Good Girl in the Lottie London palette, and when you highlight the face, you're going on top of the cheekbone. So just where you bronze, it's going to be right on that bone. You can feel the bone right below the socket of the eye. It's going to be right on top of that cheekbone. As I just made a mark with my nail. And that is the final result. I hope that made a lick of sense, you guys, in terms of contouring the face. This is just what I find a little bit easier for me. Again, remember, you're wanting something that is ash tone or brown, nothing too orange or too reddish. If you're warmer skin tone, you probably could use a bronzer, but just make sure that it's not super duper red undertoned or super duper orange. You don't want to look like an Oompa. So, and then get a loosely packed brush. Typically a flat top brush like this, something that's very thin, will work best for contouring. Some people actually use a contour brush such as this. I don't typically like to, just because I feel that when I use these, they're a little bit more splotchy, like I was saying. It's whatever feels good to you. What works for me may not work for some of you. So just realize that. That's what's amazing about makeup. It's different for everybody, and it's all about experimentation and error. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more tutorials on different makeup techniques and applications, please comment down below. Before you leave today, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to like this video. Thanks guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! P.S. I just wanted to say that obviously you saw what I used on the face. Everything was a drugstore brand or from Ulta. You do not need to spend an arm and a leg. You do not need to spend an arm and a leg on makeup products. Again, I'm bringing this channel to show you affordable options that work just as well. I know if you're on a budget like myself, makeup can get really expensive really fast, so go with something that's good quality but way more affordable. You do not need to get the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. You can get the Profusion one like I got, and you can get it at Marshall's. Heck, if you want to get the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, I saw it at Marshall's. It was broken, but maybe a Marshall's by you is better stocked and you could get it at a discounted price. But again, don't feel like you need to break the bank to look amazing, because you don't.
Oh, yeah, pretty, 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 pretty girl.